Hey everyone, Felipe here. Welcome to another Tarot Saviors card review video. In this video, I'll be taking a look at the new Kamen Rider Ultimate Stage boss, Kamen Rider Horobi. This is a Dark Machina card with the following leader skill. Dark attack times 4 and HP and recovery times 1.5. Additionally, Dark Machina cards also get a times 4 additional attack boost. By dissolving all present dark runes on the board in the first batch, the character's attack also increases by 4 times and combo count increases by 3. The way I'm interpreting this is that character's attack refers to Horobi himself, so only the leader and ally will be able to benefit from this additional times 4 attack multiplier. However, if you're running a full Dark Machina team, this will give you a times 16 attack multiplier, which is pretty good. But we will also have to look at the team skills to see whether he is really worth getting as a leader or not. So looking at his team skills, unfortunately Madhead did not translate them, so let's take at the English Discord translations. If we have Kamen Rider Horobi as a leader and ally, you also get Dark Runes possessing the effect of Heart Runes, 50% effect of Heart Runes, which will help you recover, and other attributive runestones also possess 100% effect of Dark Runes, which means that you will have attacking runes no matter what. Additionally, you also get an additional 4 times runestone movement time regardlessly, which is always welcome. And if your team consists of Kamen Rider Horobi as a member, either leader or member in general, your attack increases by 3 times for all Kamen Rider Horobi towards poison enemies. This will only come to play when we discuss Horobi's active skill, but for now just keep in mind that he is able to get an additional times 3 attack boost using his team skills. So what do I think about his leader skills and team skills? I do think he might be pretty good, especially because we do not have any good Dark Machina leaders in the game right now. The only one that really comes to mind is going to be Galileo, but that was so long ago that it's not relevant in the meta at all. So Dark Machina cards are definitely lacking a good leader. That being said, Horobi is not going to be a super broken leader, but he is going to be a semi-decent leader in my opinion. If you're running a mono Dark Machina team, you do get a times 16 attack boost, as well as Horobi gets all sorts of attack boosts from his leader skill and his team skill. So if you're running support cards, you might be able to build a pretty decent team for Kamen Rider Horobi. However, I do think he will struggle a little bit with enemy shields, especially the initial shields, quintet shield, etc, especially if they come back to back. He will struggle as those because his leader skill, neither his leader skill or team skills have inherent shield breaking capabilities, so you will be relying on active skills and dragon crafts to break those cards. So in my opinion, as a leader, Horobi can be decent, but will not reach the top of the meta easily and will probably struggle against newer stages in the future. However, now that we discussed the leader skill, the main attraction will be his active skill. I will most likely be using Horobi as a member, so I will be very interested in the active skill. His active skill is a CD7 skill with the following effect. For 2 rounds, turn the first 5 runestones touched while moving into dark runes. Additionally, the character's attack increases by times 4. The character's damage will be dealt of Trio Elemental Shield, Quartet Elemental Shield, as well as Quintet Elemental Shield. Additionally, at the end of the round, you will poison the enemies with 500 times their character's attack for every round, and this poison damage will hit regardless of defense and attribute until the enemy is dead. So, in my opinion, this skill pairs up really well with Horobi's leader skill. It will allow you to generate more dark runes, especially if you have dark runestone drought. You will not be able to trigger his third leader skill. So having dark runes on the board will always be good for a Horobi team. You will be able to reach more damage, and also you will be able to deal damage and kill enemies faster. Additionally, the character's attack will increase by 4 times. So additionally to every single attack multiplier that he gets, you will be getting a further ×4 attack multiplier. Additionally, you will be able to break trio, quartet, and quintet elemental shields, which is going to be really good because any shield breaking capabilities is also really good. And I believe this is the first card in the game that is able to break quartet elemental shield. We already have a lot of cards that break trio and quintet elemental shield, but none of those will work against a quartet elemental shield, which Kamen Rider Horobi will be able to break. So if anything, I would be getting this card just in order to have the capability of breaking quartet elemental shield. It's not the hardest to break, in my opinion, but having a card that can just straight up ignore those shields is always really good to have. And for his fourth effect, this is mostly only useful in a Horobi team or in order to increase Horobi's attack, because as you recall, his team skill increases his attack by 3 times if the enemy is poisoned. So this fourth effect is designed to trigger that team skill. It will not work against uncontrollable enemies, and 500 times the character attack is actually not that much. Average Machina card has about 2000 to 3000 attack. Multiply that by 500, you get like 100,000 at most. And enemies nowadays have 1 million, 2 million, etc. So this is only going to chip a little bit and not be worth. The main use of it is to increase your Horobi's attacks by 3 by having the enemy poisoned. Additionally, this skill can be useful with those enemies that survive on 1 HP. This poison attack usually triggers after your attack is done, so even if the enemy reaches 1 HP and is about to revive, the poison attack will take that 1 HP off and kill the enemy without you having to deal with the revived version of the enemy. So these poison attacks or these poison statuses are good against those type of enemies. However, these enemies are rare and far in between, but it will always be good to have just in case you are facing one of those. So in my opinion, as a member, Horobi, there are a lot of other cards that can replace Horobi. CD7 is pretty short to generate attacking runes. For a burst card, CD7 is pretty good. You are increasing your attack by 4 times. However, you are only poisoning the enemy at the end of the round, so Horobi will only reach its max damage potential the next round, since that is when the enemy will be poisoned. So when the enemy is poisoned, you will be able to stack the leader skill of ×4 attack bonus if you dissolve all dark runes in the first batch, the ×4 attack bonus from the active skill, as well as the ×3 attack bonus from the enemy being poisoned. So for a Horobi team, this is a really good active skill. However, for any other dark team, this is not that great of a skill. Yes, he can break trio elemental shield and quartet and quintet elemental shields, as well as provide a good burst. However, there are a lot of other cards that are better bursts or can help you break those shields easily. So there's no reason to bring a CD7 Horobi to your team unless you want to play a Machina or have 2 Machina members to get the Machina properties, which is pretty useful to have sometimes. But in general, there are a lot of other member cards or utility cards that can replace Kamen Rider Horobi. However, if you are trying to play a Horobi team, I do recommend you to get multiple copies, because CD7 is pretty long, but it lasts for 2 rounds. So the more copies you have, the more uptime you can have on this attack boost, as well as the poisoning. So if you have 2 copies, you will be able to activate 1 copy, and then once the effect ends, activate the second copy, keep that uptime on. But like I said, and if you know me, I am not a fan of running duplicates too much, because I like running other cards to break other shields and have more utility in my team. However, if you're running a Horobi leader, having more Horobis in your team will be really useful as well, because each of them will also benefit from the passive team skill as well. But yeah, Yeah, so overall, I think this card is pretty well designed, pretty cool. However, the leader skill is can be decent, but is not broken or very powerful. And the active skill is better suited for his own playstyle as a leader rather than as a member for other dark teams because he can be easily replaced. However, as always, this is a collaboration card. It might not come back, and if you want to get a dual max Kamen Rider ZO, you do have to get a Horobi to dual max. So I will recommend you to farm one card to dual max and farm multiple of them if you want to run a Horobi team, if you have the resources and you want to run that team. But he is not as powerful as a leader, but he can be decent. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this card. Please let me know in the comments if I said anything wrong or if I missed anything. And as always, stay tuned on my YouTube channel for more Tower of Saviors content. For now, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone!